Introducing the opus magnum of this keyboard hobby, this is the Haven TKL. Architecture all around the world is admired in so many vast and different ways, and even modern inventions and innovations are heavily inspired by their architectural distant cousins. Haven 65 was an innovation. It managed to bring out the feelings and emotions given by the Haven HUIS. And now we get the pleasure to experience yet another innovation based on the designs made by Zaha Hadid and Tom Main. Haven TKL is an extremely well-curated art piece based on the artistic expressions left behind by these two and their architecture. So every cut and machined piece has its own purpose, with being put in and taken out. I think Haven 65 was one of the most interestingly designed boards, and now I think this may finally beat my previous needs and expectations for buying other custom boards. So let's go through the amazing packaging we get and discover what's inside. After opening up the box holding our case, we are greeted with a nice and massive microfiber cloth marked with the Haven logo. Underneath that, we are greeted with our Haven TKL nicely nestled by foam. Now, while this box held our case, we actually have another box holding all of our other accessories. Upon opening the accessories box, we find ourselves with a Haven metal business card, our light diffusers, and our screws. Then we have some Haven stabilizer spacers and our black front badge. Also included with every Haven TKL, we get a color matched artisan just like we had with the Haven 65. Now wrapped with a wax paper like material, we have our alu plate, our FR4 plate, our PCB, and our foams. Lastly, we are given a 1.5mm screwdriver, which is a nice touch. And just like that, we have everything. Haven is a masterpiece. Both Haven TKL and its smaller brother Haven 65 are pure pieces of art that you can admire for hours on end by both looking at it and feeling it. Now, since we got to take a look at its outer beauty, let's look at what our specs are. Haven TKL is an 80% layout board, labeled as a, you guessed it, TKL. As far as color options go, we have a lot, more so than I've seen on many other boards, so here's a list for convenience. But moving along, this is a gasket mounted board using silicone stocks, so no plateless builds are possible. Originally, our PCB utilized a semi-flex cut design, which offered a bit of flex to the board. If you did want more flex to the board with the previous PCB, there were 2 extra connection points that you could cut out, but the final units will utilize a non-flex cut design. So only our proto units and past Haven TKL group buys will have the flex cut PCB. The front of the board is measured at 18.2mm high, and the typing angle is also 8.5 degrees. We do get some accent lighting on the board as well. On each side there is a little diffuser that has configurable lighting, and on the top case we have our mysterious and unique slim badge. This badge not only represents our side profile for this board, but also has some nice diffused lighting as well. Now, on the bottom of our board, we have a lot of different sharp angles and curves seen, and our bottom weight has a nice PVD finish, but there's also a brass option and a copper edition as well. Next up, we have our wonderful PCB. While there aren't many support options for this PCB, it still has a very sleek and minimalistic matte black and gold design, and by far has the best thing I've ever seen on a PCB. an engraving of 2 cats. Haven is also compatible with both VIA and QMK, so you'll be able to change up anything you'd like. We also do get a color-matched aluminum plate as our given plate material, but on the extras pages we do get the option to additionally get a PC, POM, and FR4 plate, as well as a whole separate variety of badge options. One thing to note though is that Haven TKL is a very heavy board. Depending on what your config will be, Haven can weigh anywhere between around 6 pounds to almost 8 pounds. Moving along now, here's what I have set for our configuration. We'll be using some brand new BSON hot switches from Unikeys with an alu plate and GMK Momo Yume keycaps. I think Haven sounds insanely beautiful even without any foam in it, but with it I do hear that it becomes a little less resonant and ends up having a little bit more of a solidified sound signature. Also, the huts are tactile switches, so while I was typing I noticed that the poppiness of the huts actually came out a bit more and became a little louder than I thought they would originally be. This loudness wasn't harsh though, and actually while they were a bit louder, it almost felt like the board softened the sound coming from the switches while retaining their loudness. And feeling around the board now, I noticed that there was a bit of bounce given off, and it felt a little springy as well. While the silicone gaskets aren't as bouncy as pour-on ones are, I think this board definitely gives you a worthwhile typing experience without compromising on its sound. Since the Group I PCB won't have any flex cuts and will be combined with an alu plate, there won't be much flex to the board. But since we do have that bounce coming from the silicone socks, I think it gives you a unique typing experience that focuses evenly on both sound and feel. Just like Haven 65, Haven TKL was heavily inspired by architectural masterpieces. In this case, Haven TKL was designed as an homage to the designer's favorite piece of work while studying as an architecture major at California Polytech University. This design was the key source of inspiration that gave Haven TKL its zigzagging outline and large amounts of polygonal volumes. The idea of the sandwich way was also inspired by the design of this building and helped create its unique look. Haven TKL is a beautiful work of art that captures its designer's admiration for the world's unique and special architecture. We can truly see how they managed to capture the style of their previous and most favorite architectural design, and how they put the time and effort into transferring its beauty to this hobby. Haven TKL is something you admire for its quality and backstory, giving its credit where it's truly due.